races of today's sprint race, so it is a monster.
The grass in his recovery.
Yes, he did. He was in a battle with that McLaren there, and he went straight on at Brundle there.
Okay, so that's fine. He'll get back up to speed. Oh, very squirrely moment there from the number 79 car, not the 87 Ginetta we're looking at. Just ahead of him was there we go with the pink, the Team Hard number 79. That is going to wrap up GTA honours for the season here today as well. And that's Sam Random that started it. Niall Quinn, the single-seater extraordinaire that's raced over in Indy Lights, that will be taking over that car for the second half of this race. Graham Tilley doing a fabulous job keeping that GTC car ahead of Graham Tilley, so it's the pair of Grahams, and they're doing a great job. Down to Palmer, left-hander they go, and just behind them, Seamus Jennings in the 33 Porsche, trying to get involved as well, and that looks like a good run, heading down towards Agostini. Up the inside goes Graham Tilley. He's got it done here. Oh, a little bit of contact there as they edge towards the outside. Through he goes, and up into third place overall, and he needed to get that done quickly to try and get away from the 33 Porsche Seamus Jennings, which is another GTO car.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a couple of corners. He's got Hamilton, Hoggies, then the right-hander of Williams before he can launch it down the Bentley straight and use that top speed that he's been achieving in that car.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that's the thing, is that the GTC cars are actually really, really good in the straight line. But frankly, as you were saying earlier, is that Graham Tilley Nismo is the quickest thing in the straight line of the whole field. As is our leader at the front there, Mike Lido, trying to make it 4 out of 4 here this weekend. Doesn't score points because he's an invitational car, but my gosh, he's going to be earning the trophy. He's going to be handing that car over to Frank Pereira for the second half of the race. I mean, we can see from our commentary box just how quick he is through that section, can't we? And to give you an idea of that, this is what I love about GT car. The whole story here is that 911 Porsche is a GTB car. Coming back through the field is the another GTB car, the number 20, the BMW, the Saxon Motorsport BMW 150, getting past the GTB number 3. So that was actually for the lead. I'm gonna venture it is the lead of GTB. That now goes the way of the number 20 car, but Jensen Lund trying to come back at him again. So that's a good fight through the field by the 20 car there, isn't it?
Absolutely, as they now head towards turn 2 in the right-hander. We'll have to see how that goes along.
This was the story I was going to sort of talk about, is that just ahead of them we saw the 911 Porsche. That is GTB, and probably going to be taking, if it hasn't already, the GTB title this year. But is, Jensen Lund's now trying to get past the GTH McLaren. Does that mean he had a moment? Because that isn't necessarily what I'd be expecting to happen. Yeah, he must have had a moment and fallen behind the Steve Ruston McLaren, because he was momentarily up there with the Saxon Motorsport BMW, and now he's a bit further back. But all the cars that were behind that 911 Porsche are GTH, but they'll still fight with each other no matter what the groups are.
Oh, of course they are. They're racing drivers. That's what they're going to do.
And I love that. You know, you are trying to consider the points that you're scoring in it, but they want to enjoy their race. Just behind Steve Ruston there, 44 red and white, is the recovering Aston Martin. Like David Holloway, Oxford Motorsport. They had a bit of a moment yesterday. They included the bonnet up into the windscreen after contact with somebody else. That's why you've got a map on that bonnet on that one now. He's now under massive pressure from the 33 Seamus Jennings, but actually that is good news for Graham Tilley, because that means that he made the lunge to get past, but to try and stay away Seamus Jennings, he's got behind the 19 car of Graham Tilley, so there's an awful lot to do. Here we go, this is champions-elect, the 44 car, Steve Ruston at the wheel at the moment, and just behind him is another GTH car, David Holloway in the number 15 car. GTH is currently being led by, again, the 777 car, the Mark Murphy at the wheel of that GT4 Mercedes, but this is for second and third on the road in GTH, albeit that actually Steve Russell's trying to go out with a bang in that car, isn't he? Because that puts him the top point scoring GTH car, just to make sure that they wrap up the overall championship with a flourish, basically, there, isn't it?
Yeah, the McLaren had a good run through turn 1, and as you saw there, the number 15 managed to close up the gap. That looked like a move for position.
Yeah, it is. We've got Seamus Jennings has got past Graham DeZille now, and it doesn't matter in terms of points because that's a GTO car that's got past GTC Graham DeZille. But what Graham was probably hoping he'd be able to do is close in, or at least keep with the James Webb number 13 Lamborghini. And James Webb is a long way down the road, running second on the road. But now that Seamus Jennings has got past Graham DeZille, he's now going to want to try and close in on that Nissan that you saw at the end of the Bentley straight there. That is a GTO battle, isn't it? That's for second in terms of trophies, first in terms of the points. In fact, no, sorry. With the GT Cup this year, he hasn't entered the full championship, so he's invitational as well. Just sort of like commentating on him on so many of the rounds that I keep forgetting that he's not necessarily a point scorer. They had a torrid time here at Snetterton earlier in the year when they had to actually get over to Belgium, where the Porsche Motorsport truck was to get a tiny little plastic car that was stopping the car from running, but someone had to drive over it, and they did make it Saturday. They got it working like Saturday night, and they were able to get back out again on the Sunday, but what a weekend that was. He's trying to get himself back involved in that GTO fight, isn't he? It's probably impossible. Number 19. Normally we've got a couple of those cars out here. Goodness me, the speed that we just saw going past our commentary box there, the number 20 BMW, the Saxon Motorsport BMW 150, they made a welcome return towards the tail end of this year, just went absolutely flying past. What would that have been? It would have been the the 777 car he's got past, hasn't he? So that's interesting. I wonder whether there's an issue with that 777 car.
15 and the 44 going side by side then in towards Wilson and then down towards turn 3 of Palmer. The McLaren has the inside line, but look at this for a lunge then. Down towards Nelson. The McLaren holds on then on the exit.
Well, that number 20 BMW, I'm looking on the infield, and it continues its stomp through the field. Penalty, drive-through penalty for car number 21. That's John Jackson. Oh no, and he's had that moment early on when he was trying to make the challenge. He had out of position start. We've had a couple of those, haven't we?
Yeah, we had a couple in the last race. You know, it's very easy to do. But you know, the rules are the rules, and he has to serve that penalty.
Yeah, as they say, Dems the rules, as our leader goes through and sets a new fastest lap of the race, 151.255, an absolute belter. We see some of the drivers getting ready. That looks like Ian Payne ready to jump into the number 87 car that David Beerman's at the wheel of at the moment, and they're second in GTA as it stands behind the 79 Sam Ragland car. But a few of them getting ready. We've got plenty of time, but what could be going through your head there is just, you know, you've got the stick coming up very shortly. I think they'll be a lot happier getting ready to jump in the cars for today's pit stop race than they were yesterday's with that horrific rain and wind that we had. When we were talking earlier about the restart down towards Riches, where they've been behind the safety car due to a stricken car, and it was just a complete whiteout as I described it down to the first corner. You couldn't see a thing because of the spray. Not
a thing. So the only person who had a clear view of turn 1 was the race leader.
Which is our race leader of today as well, the 98 car of Michael Igo. And the only good news is the second place car could eventually as well, because he was so far ahead that the water had fallen back down the circuit. So less than 40 minutes to go on this. There's the number 20 BMW. That car is just absolutely flying up to 7th place. The GTB lead as well for that car. The number 87 here, David Beerman, sorry, that's a little bit of 87, just behind it, GTH leader, 777, there we see it, the black, green and silver, absolutely beautiful car that, and it is Mark Murphy himself that's behind the wheel. to Michael Broadhurst a little bit later. Now, interestingly, look, Graham DeZille looks as though he's... Now, is it closed back in on the Seamus Jennings? Yeah, because the gap was 1.3 seconds. That ain't 1.3 seconds now between Seamus Jennings and Graham DeZille this time as they throw the anchors out the back to the right-hander Murray's onto the centre straight. Wait to see what it is, but I really would suggest it's not 1.3 seconds this time round. Across the line they go. What have we got that to? There we go, 0.48 for Graham DeZille. And Seamus Jennings did about a second slower, so it was the double effect there, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of a moment then for Jennings, as that gap has come down, as you say, to 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, no, and you know, it'll be interesting to see whether they will actually put a challenge in, because as I say, there's a GTO car ahead of it. And he's in GTC. The frustrating thing for him is that what he really wants to be is onto terms with that number 13, the blue Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo that is just going onto the fencing straight now. The Hamilton will sweep into the right-hander of Oggy, so it's a big old gap between the GTC cars that is actually the reverse story to what we've had most of this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, we've still got 7 minutes of racing. That is going to shake up this order.
Especially when you consider Dan DeZille's going to be jumping in that point. The outright pole with the sprint race this morning, ahead of the GTO.
So challenge then, down towards, this is Brundle, but no way around the outside. Jennings then as they make their way through bomb hole and then on towards the right-hander, that long flowing right-hander of Cora.
Yeah, and it's a grip it and rip it corner is for him. It really is such an impressive sight. I mean, looking out towards it with our actual eyes of the circuit rather than the monitor this time, because it is such a sight to behold, especially when you've got the two different group cars fighting back on each other. Different parts of the circuit onto the centre straight, and you see that the 33 Porsche is able to stretch his legs a little bit there, but now in towards the braking zone of the right-hander of Bridges. Oh, and Graham DeZille certainly closed in a little bit there, but not enough.
Has the inside line covered. Maybe Graham DeZille's going to try a little bit of a different line then on the exit of Wilson down towards Palmer. But yeah, the Porsche's just about to got away from him through the first 3 corners there.
I'm also looking and hoping that the message is getting through to Josh Jackson in the number 21 car, because he hasn't served his drive-through yet, and of course, if it keeps going fast back so many times, not what he wants.
Not at all.
So, there we go. Speak of the devil, there we go. So that's the opposite to the commentator's curse, isn't it? That's got him out of trouble. Through comes Josh Jackson. I'm sure he's frustrated, but especially as it probably wasn't by a lot, and he served that penalty, and off he goes. And that dropped him down into 15th place on the road. He's had a really testing weekend. He's normally joined by Simon Orange, or has been for the latter part of this season, but Simon's not out this particular Simon. Yes, that is the brother of Jason Orange, we'll take that, and he's the Sale Sharks rugby club owner as well, and such a character. He really is an amazing character. But Josh
There's the black and white flag for 777 for track limits there, Chris.
Yeah, so Mark Murphy's just overdoing it a little bit. Second place, James Webb's just gone through. Red Tilly sat there in third position, not really making inroads in his standing at the moment. This is a great GTH battle, he says, just pausing. Yes, it is, because there's 3 of those cars. Chris Murphy just in the background. They are all GTH cars, lights ablaze from David Holloway in the number 15 Aston Martin Optimum Motorsport, but just behind them is the Whitebridge Motorsport Aston Martin. Chris Murphy, last year's champion. I think he's just psyching out a little bit. I think he would probably take a bit more than that, actually psyching out, to be fair, but he's trying, and Chris Murphy's trying his bit as well with his lights ablaze, and David Holloway's got his lights ablaze, trying his best to put off the McLaren ahead of him, but they're not following Steve Russell. He's enjoying enjoying his last ride the 19 started, hopefully fit the same. Just make sure that it is do what they need to do to secure this championship. It's all but won, but you never know what penalty can be applied, so you've still got to drive sensibly. So 33 and a half minutes left to go. At the moment we kind of got large chunks of the field largely settled down, but this is what we love about the pit stop race. You can't allow yourself to be long and get tipped on its head.
Absolutely, and that goes to the drivers who may have not had their way in this early stint. They've got that pit stop to recover. Obviously those success penalties will be added, and that will shake up the race.
It will. I think one of the cars was under pressure, 33 Seamus Jennings. That car's got 15 seconds additional penalty, whereas the 19 car has got a full 20 seconds penalty compared to that one. So at the moment, Graham DeZille really needs to be able to, if he really wants to fight with Seamus Jennings, get past him and 5 seconds down the road, and that's the interesting part. That fight we've watching for a while, the 44 car of Steve Ruston, they've only got 10 seconds success penalty. The 15 car behind them have 10 seconds as well, so it's exactly the same for those two, so they could come into the pits together and leave the pits together.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a prospect, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Different drivers in both of those cars who will be after the pits, let's not forget. Remember, when the clock says 26 minutes left to go. Particularly good pros that you can expect them to dive in fairly sharpishly to get the cars in. So certainly the number 6 car, I would envisage a pretty high chance that he's one of this country's best young talents in GT racing. Really very impressive. I'm trying to remember that. I think he's 18 years old, and really all that the welcome. And there's another one that's a great talent. GT Racing just there's Seamus Jennings still under some huge pressure from Graham DeZille. Two very different cars as they make their way. I'm just trying to work out, yeah, that's is that the Bentley Straight they're coming down towards us? Look at this wheel.
That's heading towards Brundle there, but yeah, the Porsche is just about and Ferrari here is so much quicker on the straights. Watch him going down the centre straight and on towards the first turn of Riches. That Ferrari has so much more pace, but he's got to get that last corner of Murray spot on, because at the moment he's losing time. Too far behind. That said, if he could potentially do the old karting move that is which has never been said with GT racing, I'm sure, but he's able to drop it up how much speed as he wants through the apex of Murray's. It didn't quite work from there. It looked like he was closing, wasn't he, in towards Riches? He definitely thought about it, thinking of move up the inside towards Nelson as well. And again, he just has to stay behind of Jennings, close to the apex there, just preventing there.
Wilson hairpin up on the far corner of the circuit there. Onto the infield they go, and behind our commentary box we can see them, and it is still Seamus Jennings managed it. You can see there on the camera that he's managed to stretch that out a little bit. That means he's now able to take a bit of a breather, but he knows it's short-lived by the time they come to Bentley Straight. At the end of there, that pesky Ferrari is going to be right on his tail again. Doing a good job. There's the 777 car of Mark Murphy leading GTH by a reasonable amount. The second running GTH car is the red and white number 44 champion-elect of Steve Ruston, and that is quite a long way down the road, probably nearly 20 seconds further down the road, so comfortably in the lead of GTH. He is putting some pressure on by the looks of it. The 87, one of the car, David Beerman at the wheel of that one. Ian Payne will be taking over later, fresh off of his win in group in the sprint race a little bit earlier. Graham Tilley about to put a lap on the 911 car. down here, but there is the 777. But that's working. Down the Bentley straight he goes. He's trying to psych out the Ginetta ahead of him, but the gap is just too big to really do anything about it. There is Seamus Denny still being harassed and harangued by that Ferrari as they make their way up towards the Wilson right-hand hairpin. Both of them forgetting to make friends with the hairpin there. Never mind, we'll drag ourselves back. I think they both sort of followed each other there. It looked to me as though Seamus Denny was probably doing too much looking. Pointed over, shot it a little bit, and Graham DeZille followed him as well, and that so often happens, doesn't it?
Well, I think DeZille's made the best out of a bad situation because he's right on the back of this Porsche then as they head through Agostini here. Once again, through the corners, looking for an inside move down towards turn 5. He's trying to go on the inside, but it's not going to happen like that. Holds firm.
Wow, I mean, that is not a commonplace through Hamilton to make that kind of move, and he was always going to pincer away from him there, but he stuck his nose in for a lot further than I was expecting. I think that took Seamus Jennings by surprise. In fact, Seamus Jennings has been compromised all the way through Williams onto the Bentley straight, and this is where, as you called it, is that Ferrari seems incredibly strong. Has he carried enough momentum onto the straight? I'm not sure he has, you know, surprisingly. Maybe he was actually just that little bit too close to the back of that Porsche as they went onto the Bentley straight, and it's just washed him out a little bit. We're only 60 seconds, just over 60 seconds from the pit window opening. That 19 is another one that could potentially come in fairly early. I mean, saying that, his dad is out there at the moment, so I think he gets dibs, to be fair. But he knows that Dan is going to be incredibly quick. If he jumps in that car, he's not going to be able to do it this time. They're already onto the centre straight, and we've got 40 seconds to go, so they're going to have to go again. Here they come past the line. This is a GTH battle, and in fact, that's an interesting one, is that it must have happened a while ago, is that Chris Murphy's got ahead of Brent Village. Brent Village had a lot of fun into this. He does the rain dance to get the rain out of it because he's got to throw that out of the window, really, haven't they? What's this, coming down the Bentley straight? We've still got Jensen Lunn in the GTB car running second in GTB, 10th on the road. Then you've got Steve Ruston still holding on. The number 15 car, David Holland, for Aston Martin. Bouncing in towards the bomb hole they go. Even with the matte black bonnet that they've had to fix to that one, it still looks a beautiful car. And putting pressure into the pits has come the 87 car, and that is a pit window open, so it's the first stoppers, and that suddenly means that Ian Payne's going to be jumping in. Remember, we saw the footage that he was ready nice and early. Now we understand why, because he's also jumping in.
Ready to his limit then once again as he hops into the car, ready to go, but of course he's got those success penalties. This is another car in, 2 cars in behind there. That's the number 15 there.
So David Holloway handing over to Piers Johnson, and Chris Murphy's in, but he's not actually handing over to anybody, is he? He's just taking a breather, frankly. Back out there. But you saw a whole raft of drivers all stood there ready to get back out again, weren't they? And or jump into the car. Their efforts. But it's going to be a mixed bag. Where is the number 6? Nissan, here it comes. I said that was going to come in early.